Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Bronze Reaper podcast. I'm your host, Rosalind Perkins, everyone. And how's everybody's day going? I hope everybody's day is going good. We have a great, Reaper's Nation podcast. I am your host, Rosalind Perkins. Today we got a great show. We will be talking about the Boules and the Divine Nine. Give me a second. I'll give you the whole name of it. Yep, the truth about the Boules and the Divine Nine. I did want to say the Black Boules, but because something made me wanted to do this show today, and I'm gonna be personally honest. What really made me want to do this show is the Roland Martins, the Democrat Shields, and who is controlling the Black community for the last part of 90 to 100 years, we can say. And I want to say it is the Black Boules, or the Divine Nine. I think, and I'm gonna say the Divine Nine is somewhat a subgroup, but the Boules are the same thing. If you don't know what the Boules are, the Boules is a fraternity. It's Sigma. I think if I'm saying it right, Sigma Pi Phi fraternity. It's the first Black fraternity in 1909, I believe, or eight. Either one is somewhere around there. When Black people weren't getting let into fraternities and sororities, these six Black men came from Massachusetts, Philly, all over the East to create the Divine Nine, or as we know, the first fraternity. The Divine Nine is 9 different sororities and fraternities that, but they were Black fraternities and sororities that help with getting educations, help people find their jobs, um, resources. So a lot of these fraternities and sororities started off great. Um, if anybody wants to talk on it, definitely. I will actually do. I will actually cam up today. So yeah, I'm gonna cam up right now, and I'm sorry I'm late, everybody. I just try to get a little bit of sleep. But this is gonna be a quick, fast show, probably 2.5 hours. Nothing too crazy. Um, but I also wanted to talk about the death of one of the frats, these Black fraternities, a person who was part of the Divine Nine, Fairfax. I think his name was Joseph or John Fairfax, and I want to say that he wasn't he was probably a Black American, but he wasn't a part of the community. He grew up probably middle or high class Black people. And there are Black elites out here, so don't get it fucked up and just think like, oh yeah, every all black people are poor. No, there's black elites out here, and I'm talking about black elites that do get busy. So I always want to explain to people: don't ever get it fucked up in thinking that all black people are poor and black people don't got money and certain black people don't got old money. Yeah, there's some niggas with old money out here. Definitely. We'll talk about it. Definitely. I'll talk for like another 15, 20 minutes. Just to wait till everybody get into the room. But yeah, it's this is. I think you know the election is coming up. We need to know what type of power these people have. This is why I think the Reaper Nation is a great show and it's a great channel. It doesn't get as much numbers as the Bronze Reaper podcast because I have been doing the Bronze Reaper for 2 years, almost 2 years, 2.5 years, yeah. But definitely, I will say that like yeah, they have been a lot of these a lot of these people in the how to explain in the diaspora knew about these type of people out here, but at the end of the day, we thought they were leading us to the promised land where you know what we're having the same thing as other people are having, and at the end of the day, we weren't. So yeah, best believe. Give me a second. Hold on 1 second, everyone. All right, I'm just getting everything started, everyone. But yeah, best believe, like, yeah, there are these elites out here, but some of these are elites. I would say this: some of these elites that are out here, then they don't always have our best interests. I was hearing somebody talk today about the Pigma Sci-Fi, and it was the guy who was a part of one of the black fraternities. And what's going on, Dorsey? Salute, salute. It's this is the Reaper Nation show, so definitely we'll be talking about the black elites, the black Boules. So yeah, the Divine Nine, the Skulls and Bones, and like how all of this stuff has connections. We're gonna talk for 15 minutes, like 15 more minutes, 10, 15 more minutes, and we're gonna jump into the show because it's gonna be a quick show today, Dorsey. So yeah, shout out to you. Um, I want to say this. Um, and this is just me. I feel um, with these type of groups, they do have somebody that they do listen to. Everybody has some type of boss in this type of game. Everybody always has to have somebody to listen to. Even if you're in a hierarchy, even if you're like, you're part of the system, you're listening to the system. There's somebody that's running this fucking system. And this system that the Boulets are running is most likely Democrats. You know, I personally don't know how the Boulets got in. Greek fraternities and sororities are a mirror image of white society. Yes, you're right. The black elites, as we call them, they the ones that control media, influence, education, um, work, resource, uh, programming, everything. These people are very important. Them versus us mentality. Yeah. As y'all know, I dated somebody that was a part of their sorority, the Divine Nine sorority. Haitian girl, She wore the red and black, and and shout out to my ex. I'll give you that because she is a good person. She been through a phone. All right, that better? Hey, thank you, Black Snow Bunny King. But I'll say this: Stokely Carmichael was a part of the Boulets. Actually, yes, he was. Would you say that he was a part of the? So I guess I got to start over, everybody. Welcome to the Bronze Reaper podcast. I'm your host, Rosalind Perkins. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing good. Thank you, Snow Bunny King. Today we're gonna have a great show. We will be talking about the Black elites, one subgroup called the Black Boulets, and their influence around the Black community. I personally think that they destroy, and I'm gonna say this, Black Snow Bunny King, Stokely Carmichael. I think you meant to say Stokely Carmichael. You say Stony, you mean Stokely. I get what you was trying to say. Uh, are you trying to say Stokely Carmichael or Steve Coakley? Stokely. I don't know what you're trying to say. If you're trying to say Stokely Carmichael, no, he was actually a boule. He went to college and was in a frat, so it's you could look that up. I will say this also too. Like and subscribe and comment in the live chat. And only way you can comment in the live chat if you subscribe. So definitely subscribe. And also, I need you to hit that share button and share through to all your platforms. That would be great if you can do that. And also, if you want to donate to the platform, I gave 2 to 3 different links. uh, One was Streamlab, the other one is the GoFundMe, and the other one is my Cash App. I don't know if I did my Cash App, but I'll do my Cash App right now for you. Um, so yeah, I did my Cash App. Steve Coakley. You trying to say Steve Coakley? Okay. I thought you was trying to say Stokely Carmichael. I apologize for that, but I will say this, and I'll read some of this off because we'll start in like 10, 15 minutes. I'll give another 10, 15 minutes because I didn't know y'all couldn't hear me. So let's see what Black Snow Bunny King said. Bronze Age spitting nothing new. The great Pan Africanist Steve Coakley exposed the Boule and the Divine Nines Greek fraternity without Pan Africans and their knowledge you wouldn't know about. That's why this is a research show. Black Snow Bunny King. And I'm glad you stayed on topic today because this isn't a foundational Black American show. This is a research show. So thank you. I do appreciate that. You said I'm mute. Thank you for telling me. Let's see. They started they start off merchants of buffoonery and slander, but later gain importance. X Oprah and Steve Harvey. Yeah, I do believe that, Dorsey. The reason why I do believe that because at the end of the day, Oprah really didn't help black men nor black women. She helped African women. She helped other people out the country. She built schools in Nigeria, but hasn't built a school in America. She gave free stuff to white women. White women love Oprah. And I get why. Oprah is a very influential figure, so she's biased, but she's very still to this day, she's still influential. I will say that like I could say Elon Musk. I could say Elon Musk is a racist piece of shit, but he is still, as I said, influential. You know, Black Snowbody King. It's Black Snowbody is Chewbacca. Oh, Stony Carmichael and Steve Coakley are different people. Stokely. I know. I just got what you were saying. Black Snow Bunny King. Thank you. Let's see. Talking talking in caps. That Chewbacca mo. Oh shit, that could be yo. Who knows? Oh, excuse me. He just took off the caps. Okay. Um, the Boulets are the ones that hold debut. Was it debut in it? Balls and large charitable events. Yes, they are. Also too, the Freemasons. The Freemasons hold a lot of events for a lot of people, and sometimes things that we go to, we don't even know it's a Freemason funding. So shout out to Freemasons. Bad or good. My uncle was a Freemason. My uncle Jesse. He passed away 2 years ago. All the Freemasons was out there. Them niggas was like military. Them niggas came to my uncle's funeral like they were the Hebrew Israelites, man, with the fucking apron, with the white gloves on, and one hand behind the back. Yo, them niggas is lit. Would I ever join the Freemasons? Hell no. I'd rather eat a glass sandwich, my nigga. But if you can do it, you can do it. One of my best friends is a Freemason, so um, I don't know if he still is because he's a Hebrew Israelite now. So I don't know. So, but yeah, that nigga was out there getting busy. He was the one who inspired me to get a firearm. So yeah, shout out to him, man. He's actually half Haitian too. So yeah, he's a cool guy, man. um, I'll say this. This one might be one of the most interesting shows I ever did because I was actually going to do a documentary on this last year. I was going to actually go up to Lancaster, Philadelphia, to the headquarters of the the Black Boules building, also known as Sigma Pi Phi. And dig deep into certain things. And I was actually going to talk to a lady who had a bad experience with the Boulets or the Divine Nine. So there was a few documentaries I wanted to do, but this shows. I'm gonna be personally honest. This show started taking off when y'all just when y'all started just jumping on my show in like May. Was it May? All y'all started jumping in the show? I think it was May or April or March. I think it was April or March. And like, I even did a birthday show. I might do a birthday show this year. For me, my birthday's I think 2 weeks. Hold on, when is my birthday? Oh shit, I don't even know when my birthday is. Give me a second, everybody. Uh, Let me see when my birthday is, everybody. I apologize. Um, yeah, almost 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. My birthday's in May 8th, so definitely, we're gonna have a birthday show for me and stuff. Niggas is gonna get lit. Um, is my birthday on a Saturday or on? Yeah, it's on a Friday. Yeah, my birthday's on a Friday. Yo, niggas lit out here. And I usually do birthday shows because my only person who really called me is my aunties and my father. My uncle's gonna call me too. He's out of jail, so it's super dope. Yeah, I don't really do nothing for my birthday. Niggas like, yo, I got a bottle for you. Woo, 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 woo. Oh, y'all, thank you. I don't drink like that, but I'll take the bottle. I'll probably drink on my show, take a shot or two. Or when I'm having one of them sloppy shows and shit just go left and nigga woo woo woo, niggas just throwing them cups back. So it's a very different thing. But the Boulets, I don't know. What is y'all opinion on the Boulets? I want to know what y'all opinions are. Exactly on the Boulets or the Black Elites and the Black Elites. I'm gonna definitely change the name. Give me a second. I want to change the name. I want to put the Black Elites. Okay, I put the Black Elites. I definitely want to say it in the Black Elites because the Divine Nine is just a subgroup. I'm gonna be personally honest. I think of them as a subgroup. Group. The black elites, this is the echelons of the echelons, so it's definitely, we gotta respect the game sometimes, but at the end of the day, they have done, harm, so it's, hold on, give me a second. Because we're gonna jump into a lot of this stuff today. These black elites, these billionaires, we I wanna ask you a question. Um, it is, yes, what do we think of these people? But at the end of the day, how have they helped these people as well? I think that's a great thing to understand. And if anybody figuring out who's that white man on my wall, that's Alexander Usyk. He's probably one of the greatest fighters in this era right now. This is the guy who took down fucking twice Tyson Fury. So Alexander Usyk from Ukraine. For all you small hat, haters, that's a Ukrainian on my wall. So I love watching him fight, and I like his workout exercise. So yeah, that's why I wanted to put Deontay Wilder, but I couldn't find a poster. Bomb squad, something on the wall. I might put something up there or over here, and I got another space right here. So I do have space for another picture of picture, but yeah. Good morning, Mr. Perkins. My birthday is May 31st. Oh, hey, Miss Ramirez. Oh, okay, you a May baby too. Okay, girl. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to work. Have a good day at work, Mrs. Ramirez. Definitely. But yeah, what's this? Do I really want to click this? Let me see. I do want to click this. Let me see what this is. I'm gonna actually click this and see what this. See, hopefully it's not in no perverted shit. Give me a second. Let's see. Oh, that's Rumble. Give me a second. I gotta click on my Rumble. You know, um, I wa- let's see. All right, I'll watch that later. Ooh, hold up. Investigations, bodybuilding, masonic. Oh, okay. You're into this type of shit, huh? The Freemasonry and stuff. I might watch this. Hold on, because give me a second. Give me a second, everybody. Let me see. Actually, I might watch this on my own time. I don't know if I'll get flagged for this because I know you're on Rumble, but I'm on Rumble, I'm on X, I'm on YouTube, so I don't want to get flagged. But I will put it this way, for Rumble, I will do a show for Rumble sooner or later, for Rumble. So just give me some time and I'll do a show for Rumble, and definitely email me and see what type of shows you want me to do for you on Rumble, and definitely I will build an audience for Rumble. Thank you for sending that video though. I do appreciate it. I know Rumble's a little more freer than most channels, so definitely thank you, super high IQ. You know, but let me ask y'all a question. That guy who did that suicide, the black guy, do you think, and this is just me, do you think he was killed and somebody planted, evidence and made it seem like it was him? Or or I'm gonna put my little Koofy hat on right now. I'm putting the Koofy hat on. Or the nigga just bugged out and say like, yo, I'm just dumbing out and cause this ain't no black people shit. I'm gonna be personally honest. And I'm gonna say this: women be out here doing murder suicides too. Don't forget about One of the greatest black football players I ever seen was Steve McNair. His side chick killed him. And it wasn't a black woman though. It was a fucking Palestinian or some type of Arab bitch. You know, she killed him. She wasn't a bad looking girl, but the nigga had a wife and some kids. Like, why would you want to fuck that up? Why? I always tell women, why you fuck up some shit that is going good. You know, sometimes you just can't be greedy. I know some side chick. Let me tell you something. I know some side chicks that never worked a day in their life, and they're like 70 years old, still being taken care of. And the reason why, because they play their part. Like, oh no, me and Mr. Harold just friends, or me and Mr. Perkins is just friends. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. I knew him ever since before he even had kids. She ain't gonna be like, yo, if I want him, I will take him. She don't do some shit like that. You gotta get them classy. And this is why I always tell. I remember I was having a conversation with my daddy. And I told my daddy, I was like, yo, dad, there's levels to the side chick shit, right? And he was like, and this was like years ago. He was like, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, dad, there is levels to this shit. I was like, yo, you could get these division 4 side chicks, these D list side chicks that will get you in trouble, like Erica Mena, fucking Selena Powell's, chicks like that. Those are D list side chicks. Those are side chicks. If you're broke and you ain't got nothing to lose, nigga, fuck with them. But if you got money and shit like that, you gotta come out the pocket for your side chick. Hey, baby, you need a car? Oh no, baby, you look like you need a car. You can't be living like that. Nah, let me get you a new car. What you want, a Beamer? I'm gonna get you a 3 Series, 2019, 2024. You know, yeah, the wifey is gonna be driving the G wagon, but the side chick gets business trips. She gets money to go splurge. She can have fun with her friends. All she got to do is respect the man who's paying that money. What's up, daddy? How you doing? You hungry? How's work? I'm sorry they beat you, they kicking your ass at work. You know? Oh, I know you don't eat pork. I threw that grease away that I made when I made the bacon with. I got your grease on the side. Those type of side chicks. Those side chicks is A-list side chicks. Damn near wives. Those are damn near wives. She know you got too much. She already knows you got a lot of shit going on. You know? You like her, she likes you, but at the end of the day, this ain't gonna work because you got a wife at home. You going on a business trip. He's taking you. I know. I used to be. I'm a former paramour. I know. I know. You know. You know. Wife's going on the trip. Because she's making money. She brings me. Oh, what do I like? Some Jordans. Buy me some shit from Banana Republic. Some casual shit. Give me some spending money. Pay my rent. I'm good. I'm living life. I play my part. You know. I play my part. But when you got something going good, when you got something good, and you can lose everything because of the side chick, and you buy the D list or the F list type of side chick, there's a problem. You're gonna lose everything. Just remember, you're gonna lose everything because that side chick. You know, my dad had to figure it out the hard way. Bitches out here stealing. Like, yo, those D list, F list, from C minus to F list type of side chicks will steal from you. Them bitches will steal for you. They'll pinch your weed. They'll drink up all the liquor. Yeah. They talk too much. They ask what you want, what they want. It come with the game, man. That's why I play my part. I know when I get to places, I don't really drink. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't really drink like that. I could have I could drink with you. I could drink a cup with you, but that's my limit. I can't drink two, three, 4 cups, get fucked up. No, I gotta stay professional. I gotta look good with this girl. You know, those girls are more spontaneous than your wives. And the thing, I'm gonna be personally honest, a lot of these women, once they get married or they have kids, they're not really spontaneous anymore. So it comes with the, like I said, it comes with you just check that shit to the game. You add that shit to the game. And I think that's why a lot of these men cheat, because they're like, yo, man, you lost your fire, you lost your spark. Girls don't want to suck dick no more. They think they over sucking dick. But when nigga go get him a side chick, your feelings is hurt. So it's one or the other. You want your feelings hurt, or you want to get nasty for your husband or your baby daddy so he don't cheat. It just be like that. You know, um, and this is just me. Some bitches suck dick once a year, once or twice a year, and or just suck dick. I call them holiday dick suckers. Those girls is just holiday dick suckers. They only suck dick if it's your birthday or Christmas, or if they ain't got no money to get you anything. It's a sad cause. It's a lost cause. I'm gonna be personally honest. Excuse me. But yeah, and that's why a lot of these men cheat, man. They still want that spontaneous, woman that they were missing. They don't want that, And don't get me wrong, yeah, that's cool that you got you a nice, And this is why I say don't listen to niggas who like Myron Gaines and shit like that. Them niggas don't know about getting pussy and shit like that. You know, Niggas like the girls that like to suck dick, and this is why Selena Powell's be winning out here. I gotta be personally honest. She got her little adult career, but she out here sucking dick, telling stories. That's I'm gonna say this. That's what fucks her up. That's why she won't get married, man. Nobody won't want to marry her because she talked too much. She talked too much. Like we know you're a whore, but at the end of the day, have some type of class to it where a nigga wants to marry you. So don't look like she looks disgusting. And it's sad to tell a woman that, you look disgusting doing shit like that. You know, but there's room for everybody like her, especially in the black elites. She's just not a part of that list. Like when I get money, if my and this it goes like that for everybody. That's why these guys, they're gonna divorce you and just try to take everything and just try to destroy your fucking life, or B, he's just gonna get him a side chick. He needs a lot of people want a lot of spontaneous things, man. That's why if you ever watch a lot of Tubi movies, you see a lot of women cheating, a lot of men cheating. Like this is why I always tell women, like, yo, no, you're not being a housewife. I don't need a housewife. If I need a housewife, I'll buy a maid. Go get a fucking job or something. You know, get a fucking job. I might even buy her. I might even buy my baby mother's company. You know, just to keep her fucking pro- productive or something. It just it comes with the territory, man. I always say that things come with the territory. I got my kids all the time. My son is sleeping there right now. Girl had him out there with a fucking no coat on in fucking Vermont. I mean Maine. Bronze got his vanilla. Mommy taking care of her. Nah, I used to, man. I used to, man. I fucked up and wanted to get an education. That's all it did. I fucked up and wanted to get an education. You know, I'm gonna be personally honest. Was it stupid? Yeah, it was kind of stupid, but I wouldn't be where I am now, is talking to y'all, doing wrestling that I have to go back to tomorrow. I'm supposed to go today, but I gotta make my meal plan. I gotta make my workout plan. Oh, excuse me, Jesus. But yeah, it's I want to change up my workout plan. I want to do cardio on Fridays. So that would be great. After I do cardio on Fridays. I was thinking about Saturday and full body workouts on Saturdays. So I'll be working out 6 days a week after this week. Um, I would say this, and this is just my personal idea of these boulets, because I'm gonna get back into the to the conversation because we got to start in 5 minutes. Um, a lot of these boulets and a lot of these boulets I don't know if they control entities, but I do think, and this is just me, I do think there's somebody pulling the strings that are not black. Yes. I do believe that. I don't know. I think these people are over the Freemasons, you know. Real talk. I think they're over the Freemasons. Like the Roland Martins, the Ricky Smileys, the Steve Harveys that they talk about, these boulets, even the Shaquille O'Neal, Shaquille O'Neal, I think is a part of a black fraternity. And when he went to LSU, um, they're in cahoots with somebody. Yes, I do believe that, and no, I don't think it's the Jews. No, I don't think it's them. I think it's people with money. Can they might be small hats? Probably. Who knows? But I don't think all of them are controlling black people or these black elites or these. And I gotta be. And the reason why I laugh about it, because I'm not laughing at anybody. I'm just laughing at the situation. Just what happened? Let's play hypothetical. Let's say they are like. We can't act like the white supremacists wasn't in cahoots with them either. You know, and I'll say this just out of the defense of white supremacy. Yes, one of the small hats had one, or if not the biggest plantation of slaves. And was it Florida? I think it was in Florida. One of the biggest, if not the biggest. He had over 1,000 slaves. So yes, there were small hats that were slave owners. Okay. But they're still white. Them niggas is still white. So what? We still put them in a category as white. We don't separate them because they believe in a different religion. So yeah, shout out to the small hats, man. Yeah. Y'all got the small hats. I gotta tell y'all, small hats, y'all got this world. Yo, you got these white people going crazy. I haven't seen these white people go this crazy since the fucking Rodney King beat down the fucking the Watts riot. That's the last time I ever seen some. I haven't seen white people go this crazy. So, they were doing topic shows on the Donahue with niggas who got beat up, got pulled. The nigga who got pulled out the fucking truck and got the brakes beat out of him, and the nigga who was on the show and said why did he beat him? Because he said he was at the wrong place at the. Yeah, y'all niggas is crazy. This is why I always tell you white people are crazy. Yo, y'all do the most craziest shit, you know. That's why they be always trying to be using black people to crash out for them. Nigga, I'm not crashing out for y'all niggas. I'm gonna be personally honest. I'm not crashing out for you. Why? Because I said so. Why the fuck would I crash out for you? You know? Niggas just need help now. Help! Help! Miguel, help! It'd be like that, man. But yeah, there's somebody controlling the black Boules and the black elites, and the reason why, because they ain't gonna let niggas do shit by themselves. They gotta it's because they want to know what these niggas is doing, what these black people are up to, you know, you know. But let's get into the first video. We talked for 45 minutes. I think that's a good proper time. Let me see. No. Let's see. Is it this one? Yes, this one. All right.
Who did not have and the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, the Astors. In Philadelphia, it was families like the Biddles and the Drexels who ruled society. They lived in mansions on Society Hill. They would not let anyone into their clubs who did not have the right last name. But while the white aristocracy was busy excluding everyone, another aristocracy was rising right under their noses: a black aristocracy. In the 1840s, decades before slavery ended in the South, a secret society of black families in Philadelphia was amassing fortunes that rivaled the white elite. They lived in mansions with English butlers. They sent their children to private schools in Paris. They owned the catering empires that fed the white upper class. They were called the Old Philadelphians of Color. And for nearly 50 years, they operated a parallel universe of wealth and privilege that history has almost completely erased. They had their own 400 list, their own.
Yeah, man. So these are the black elites out here, man. They talking about these niggas had Englishmen. Yo, they were importing fucking. Yo, this shit remind me, and I think this is where Will Smith got the shit, the Freshman Prince of Bel Air from the Jeffrey guy. They got that, shipping your British fucking butler from England from Philly. Cause don't forget, this shit happened in Philadelphia. It's rare to hear some shit like that. Yo, the butlers is black. He call you master this Mister this. Yeah, they had the old English accent and stuff like that. Yeah, that's that good money, man. That's that old people money. And I'm gonna let them finish.
Own debutante balls, their own rules. They were so exclusive that even other wealthy black people were often denied entry. This is the story of James Forten, Robert Purvis, and the dynasties that proved black wealth was not just possible in the 19th century. It was powerful, and it was dangerous. If you enjoy stories about the hidden side of America's consider subscribing. We explore the fortunes that textbooks tried to forget. Let's begin with a sailmaker who became a king. It is 1798. Philadelphia is the capital of the United States. And a 32-year-old black man named James Forten is about to do something impossible. He is buying the sail loft where he used to work as an apprentice. Forten was not born enslaved. He was born free in Philadelphia. But freedom did not mean equality. Most black men in the city worked as day laborers or servants. Forten was different. He invented a device to handle heavy sails on ships, and it revolutionized the industry. Within 10 years, Forten was not just a business owner. He was one of the wealthiest men in Philadelphia, black or white.
This is why I be telling people all the time, these niggas, these people who be talking about certain states like Chicago and Philly and all this other stuff, these used to be wealthy states for black people. I know a lot of people don't like, nah, that's not true, yada yada yada. Nigga, if you know what type of like I'm like this black money that these niggas had, and I call it black money because yeah, we call it old people money. Nah, this black money, I'm talking about this old folk, inheritance money. This is why they say when black people have money, they have money.
He employed 40 men, both black and white. His fortune was estimated at $100,000. In today's money, that is millions. But Fortin did not just hoard cash. He built a dynasty. He bought a 3-story mansion on Lombard Street. He filled it with mahogany furniture and fine art. He hired private tutors for his daughters because he refused to send them to segregated schools. The Fortin home became the center of a world that was not supposed to exist. A world where black people discussed philosophy, played classical music, and planned the abolition of slavery over 7-course dinners. Europe.
Hey, yo, if I ever get some money, I'm going to open up a club like this. Yeah, one of these black clubs like that. What? Niggas with black people money and stuff. Oh, what's your name? Sir, you can't come into this club. White man trying to, white supremacist, sir, you can't come into this club. Yo, history is very important. Yes, you are right, Dorsey. Dorsey, they don't know. They don't know about this old people money that these black people be having. This is why I always tell people all the time, like, yo, money could disappear real fast when you start mixing and mingling. Yes. This is why I always tell people all the time, a lot of black people used to have, like, if they date white women, they used to have kids out of wedlock with other black women just so the money can stay black. Yes. Yes. You know? And they used to make little guarantees if they want to keep on getting a large sum of certain types of money. And this is like ruthless black men that want, I'm telling you, these ruthless black men that had this type of money and stuff, and they want their money just to stay in the black community or just stay black, that's what they would do. If you're doing this interracial shit and you talking this different type of lingo, you could lose your shares in that company just because doing some shit like that. If you're a dope fiend, if you're a criminal, you could lose your shares. Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm just being personally honest. This what can happen. This is how ruthless we are in business with our own family. Because you know what it is? And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. A lot of these hierarchy of black men are scared of their money going to another race of people that are not gonna help their people. Then they're talking about, oh yeah, we built this shit. We developed all of this shit. And you go back, their great great grandfather is black. The one who started the motherfucker. Mm. That's why they made these type of laws. This is why they made these type of guarantees. Oh, you want my money? You want this company? Okay, you got to follow these rules. We ain't gonna give it to that white baby you have. Mm-mm. It ain't black America? No, 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 no. He's mixed with what? Oh no. Mm-mm. Oh, he's talking like this? Let's take half of his shares away from him because you know what? He's not responsible of making these he's not responsible of making these these he's not responsible of making rules for this company. That's how they be talking. That's how these old money, this that old white, all that old people money, black people be talking. Yes. I'm gonna give you an example. Watch Beauty and Black. Them niggas is ruthless. The nigga has a dope fiend brother. He has a dope fiend son. He has a gay son. He has a scandalous wife, ex-wife, no wife that won't divorce him. No, that divorced him, but still has a share in the company. Has a scandalous brother, and he has to be the devil. He has to be the devil with his own family because how they are. Yeah, when the brothers fought, when the brother's wife died, the nigga was like, "I'm glad that." He's like, "I'm glad that." he said, "I'm glad that worthless bitch died." He said she should have died earlier. That's what niggas was saying about the nigga's wife. Them niggas didn't care about that white woman. Yeah, key decision that needs to be made. Yes. Thank you, Uncle Killmonger. Thank you. He knows what I'm talking about. They can't make those type of decisions. They'll fuck it up for everybody. Niggas will be talking about the black community. They'll be talking about but what about everybody else? Nigga, we not on that type of shit. So yeah, it's a sad case. It's ruthless, but this is business. This is black business. And I'm gonna say this: I think all black businesses should be doing that. If you're not on code, if you can't make those decisions, yeah, you should lose your shares. You should get a small share where you can live comfortable, you know, and not live like a king because you're not making the big decisions. I get it. You know, this is why there was this guy. This is why I stopped it because he was saying a lot of these people couldn't come to these clubs because they, you know what, they weren't making the type of money they were making. They wasn't on the same mindset. Let's get back to what's his name, Fort.
European diplomats visited him. White abolitionists sought his funding. He was the patriarch of Philadelphia's black elite. But to understand how deep this society went, we have to look beyond just one man. We have to look at the industry they conquered. By 1830, a class system had solidified in black Philadelphia that mirrored the white aristocracy. They called themselves the representative colored citizens. At the top were families with old money, wealth generated before 1820. The leaders were a new kind of king, the caterer kings. This sounds like a service job today, but in the 19th century, black caterers were the moguls of the food industry. They were the celebrity chefs and event planners of their era. Men like Robert Bogle and Peter Augustin did not just serve food, they controlled the social calendar of white Philadelphia. If the Biddles or the Whartons wanted to throw a ball, they had to hire Bogle. He owned the china, the silver, and the linens. He controlled the staff. Peter Augustin came from Haiti and brought French culinary techniques that dazzled American society. He invested his profits into real estate, buying buildings in the heart of the city. These families created a monopoly.
Shout out to Austin from Haiti. People were coming out. Listen, I think people need to listen. There were people coming from different countries to be a part of this type of business.
If the Biddles or the Whartons wanted to throw a ball, they had to hire Bogle. He owned the china, the silver, and the linens. He controlled the staff. Peter Augustin came from Haiti and brought French culinary techniques that dazzled American society. He invested his profits into real estate, buying buildings in the heart of the city. These families created a monopoly. They did not just work for white wealth, they leveraged it. They took the money from white society parties and funneled it back into black institutions. They built the churches, they funded the schools, and they intermarried. A Fortin married a Purvis. A Minton married a Bogle. They created a closed loop of wealth that protected them from the racism outside their doors. They were the invisible backbone of the city's economy. The financial power of this group was staggering. By 1837, the black community in Philadelphia held $250,000 in real estate. By 1847, that number had quadrupled. They organized their own census because the U.S. government refused to accurately count their wealth. They wanted proof. They formed literary societies like the Gilbert Lyceum, where talking about slavery was forbidden, not because they did not care, but because they wanted a space to discuss art, science, and literature without being defined by their oppression. They were constructing a reality where they were simply aristocrats. Robert Purvis, Fortin's son-in-law, took this lifestyle to its absolute peak. He was the son of a white cotton merchant and a free woman of color. He inherited a massive fortune. He looked white. He could have moved to Europe and lived as a white aristocrat. Instead, he stayed in Philadelphia and declared himself black. He built a country estate called Byberry. It had prize-winning livestock, rare gardens, and a library filled with first editions. It also had a secret trapdoor in the floor. While Purvis lived like a lord, he was also the president of the Underground Railroad. His mansion was a station for escaping slaves. This was the paradox of the black elite. They lived in luxury that rivaled the white upper class, but their lives were constantly in danger because of the color of their skin. In 1838, that danger arrived at their front door. May 17, 1838. Philadelphia. The city is tense. Abolitionists have just built Pennsylvania Hall, a grand building dedicated to free speech and ending slavery. James Fortin helped fund it. The black elite saw it as their symbol of progress, but the white working class saw it as a threat. A mob of thousands gathered outside. They were not just angry about slavery. They were angry about black wealth. They saw black men like Fortin and Purvis walking the streets in silk suits, while white immigrants struggled to find work. The resentment boiled over. The mob burned Pennsylvania Hall to the ground.
There you go. One thing about elites, and I always tell even rich people, black rich people, I was like, yo, you got to stay in the dark. You can't be in these streets. You shouldn't be in these areas. If you want to fund it, I understand that. If you want to run it, I understand that. But just being in these streets and doing what these niggas do, nah, don't do it. Don't do it. You ain't even a nigga no more. You rich. A lot of these people like this guy right here, the Fortins, they didn't deserve that shit. But at the end of the day, the reason why they have to stay in the dark because of shit like that. White supremacy. White supremacists isn't rich or poor, it's a system. Black Americans don't understand that system because it's not our system. We just know how to disrupt it. And this is one of the reasons how. Make money. Make money. That's all you got to do, make money.
Only 3 days after it opened, then they turned toward the black neighborhoods. They did not go after the poor, they went after the rich. They targeted the mansions, they targeted the businesses. Robert Purvis sat in his estate at Byberry, watching the glow of the fires in the distance, armed with a shotgun, waiting for the mob to come for his family. They did not reach him that night, but the message was sent. Your money does not protect you. Your education does not protect you. To us, you are just targets. The riots of the 1830s and the 1840s changed the black elite. They did not lose their money, but they went underground. They became secretive. They stopped flashing their wealth in public. They retreated into private societies. This is when the secret society truly formed. They created exclusive clubs like the Banneker Institute and the Pythian Directory. These were not open to just anyone. You had to be nominated. You had to have money. You had to have good breeding. And yes, color played a role. The old Philadelphians of color developed a reputation for being color-struck. They favored lighter-skinned members. They looked down on the formerly enslaved who were arriving from the South. They called them contrabands. It was a defense mechanism. They believed that if they maintained perfect manners, perfect dress, and perfect conduct, white society would eventually have to accept them. They were wrong, but they held on to this belief with a religious fervor. They refused to listen to jazz or blues. They listened to Bach and Beethoven. They did not eat soul food. They ate French cuisine. They were protecting a legacy that they felt was the only thing keeping them safe from the mob. There is another dark chapter to this story, the phenomenon of passing. Because many of these families were mixed race and light-skinned, they faced a tempting choice. They could leave Philadelphia. They could move to a new city where no one knew them. And they could become white. Historians estimate that thousands of wealthy black people from this era simply vanished from the records. They did not die. They crossed the color line. They married into white families. Their children grew up never knowing they had black ancestry. The Purvis family saw this tear them apart. Some nieces and nephews moved away and cut all ties. The wealth they had built as black entrepreneurs became white wealth in the next generation. This terrified the ones who stayed. They saw their community shrinking. Every time a son or daughter...
I want to say this again. I don't think y'all caught what these people said. They married into whiteness. That means when you marry into whiteness, and this is why I say these type of people are different. The Boules, they move, they could go under whiteness, but a business Mongo like I can't even name you one right now, but these Mongols, they don't marry into whiteness because they know how powerful their skin color is. They know how powerful their legacy is. A lot of these people will sell out just to protect their family and not understand they're still putting their family in danger. This is why I say, yo, you can be out here in these streets, but you can't be out here in these streets. This is why that man was doing everything right, but at the end of the day, he was showing off his wealth. No, you got to stay under hiding. You got to do everything right. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these people didn't want to be leaders. They just wanted, oh, I got my money here and stuff. I just want to make money. No, money comes with a responsibility. A lot of this money comes with a responsibility. And this is where a lot of black Americans are starting to understand the people who are having money or who's about to hit billions, they got to protect their people too. Because if you don't protect your people, who's going to protect you from the white supremacists? What made Malcolm X more dangerous than Martin Luther King is if you killed Malcolm X, niggas will be ready for war. A war would have kicked a civil war, another civil war would have kicked off because of Malcolm X. That's why they had to have a black man kill Malcolm X. A white man would have killed Malcolm X, this shit would have been burnt down. Niggas would have been getting sniped. Niggas really would have had to separate communities, you know? But Martin Luther King, he spewed peace. He talked about peace so much that people wouldn't burn down buildings. Were their cities burnt down? Yes. But niggas stopped it. Oh, that's not what he died for. He died for peace. That's what people were saying. Malcolm X, oh no, eye for eye, baby. We're gonna get this nigga's whole family. We're burning down that nigga's whole community. People won't be talking peace. But now these people got money over here. Money talks. Money talks. And you could tell that a lot of these people aren't built with having money because at the end of the day, look what they did. They had to identify with something that they're not. They had to erase. They erased their whole. They erased their whole fortune and their legacy. Not even their fortune. They erased their whole legacy. They erased their whole legacy. We don't even know who these people are. These people are probably white now. I'm just gonna be personally honest. These people is probably white, spending black money, thinking, "Oh yeah, black a white man. My white great granddaddy got this money for me."
Daughter moved away to pass, the dynasty weakened. It was a slow, silent erasure. The families who remained, like the Mintons and the Warwicks, doubled down on their identity. They became even more insular. They clung to their history because they were the only ones left to remember it. By the 1900s, the world was changing again. The old Philadelphians were facing a new threat, not white mobs, but a new kind of black wealth. The Great Migration brought thousands of black Southerners to Philadelphia. Some of them built fortunes in banking, insurance, and beauty products. There was Madam C.J. Walker and the bankers of Durham. This was new money. It was loud. It was proud. It did not care about French tutors or debutante balls. The old Philadelphians turned their noses up at it. They refused to let these new millionaires into their social circles, and that was their fatal mistake. By closing their doors, the old Philadelphians slowly strangled their own influence. They had the pedigree, but the new generation had the momentum. Slowly, the mansions on Lombard Street were sold. The catering empires were replaced by corporate hotels. The families drifted apart. Some moved to Europe. Some passed into white society, choosing to pass and leaving their history behind. Today, if you walk through Society Hill or the older parts of Philadelphia, you will not see statues of James Forten or Robert Purvis. Their mansions are mostly gone or converted into other things. The dynasty did not crash because of a scandal. It faded because it was designed to be secret. They built walls so high to keep the world out that eventually the world forgot they were there. But for 50 years, they proved something that terrified 19th century America. They proved that black excellence was not an anomaly. It was a civilization that thrived in the shadow of the Liberty Bell, building a definition of freedom that the Founding Fathers never intended. The old Philadelphians are gone, but the foundation they built, the networks, the institutions, the very idea of black aristocracy survives in every black dynasty that followed. They were the first, and they paid the price of being first by being erased.
Yeah. That was a black secret society right there. That told you a lot, and this is how a lot of this stuff started. We're gonna listen to Philip Scott. Philip Scott always got some great advice on the Boules and all these other people. He knows a little bit more than I do, but definitely I'm gonna let this play. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check on my son, man. He ain't
Talk
feeling it.
about the origins of the boule. Why would you use the term boule, black boule? Why y'all saying that? And why a lot of y'all who's making content is against them? Who are they? How did they get started? Why are they a problem to the black community? So let's talk about the black boule and why they have been a problem. We're going to go through some things. So the black boule itself, and we'll put this up on the screen here. It was started in 1904. Now, the first Black Greek secret society was formed in Philadelphia by Dr. Henry Minton and his 5 colleagues, okay? Now, you see them on the screen. The Boule is an acronym for Sigma Pi Phi. and it was formed to bring together a select group of educated black men and women fashioned after Yale's Skull and Bones, right? Now, the Skull and Bones is another secret society. Many of you know about that. Now, the Boules historically takes pride in providing leadership and service to black Americans during the Great Depression, World War I and II, and the Civil Rights Movement. So many people say, what could the Boules offer America's blacks in the 21st century? So joining the exclusive secret society offered advancement and perks to the select blacks in return for loyalty to its objectives. Now, they believe in the talented 10th. Now, any of you know about the talented 10th, that belief is the best and brightest of black America, which is 10%, should be running the 90%. It's a very elitist mindset. It's wrong. Just because you went to a school don't mean you're smart, because in this day and time, a master's degree don't guarantee you a job. You got a lot of debt, and if you're not smart with the right degree, you're gonna have a piece of paper, debt, and still gonna be broke, right? But this is just the process. So they say, while the majority of ordinary blacks were disenfranchised, the Boules members, they were doing good. This is historically, okay? Understand that. Boules members live a good life in America. They benefit off the system of racism and white supremacy. And they benefit off of your oppression and my oppression. They benefit from that. Understand. All these ones, Jack and Jill and the Lynx and all these little societies like that, they all tied in. Understand that. Notice that all the ones, they all know each other. They hang with each other. They don't like other black people in. See, the problem that the Boules have with people like us and Tariq and Yvette and Tone and Jason Black and Professor Black Truth and anybody else that's speaking out right now against this is that we're not part of the Boules. We're not part of their class, and they look at us as a threat to destroy them because right now they don't really have much use anymore, because with the talented 10th mentality, it says you must control the 90%, and they lost control of the 90%. This is why you have Roland Martin, and I got to mention him because he is a Boules member. He told me out his own mouth on Twitter that he's part of the Boules. That's why you see him wearing all this African garb all the time. He's trying to convince you he's black, but we're going to get to that part later, why they do that, okay?
Sigma Pi Phi right there.
Said that
whenever you hear Sigma Pi Phi, that's Boules.
The Archons, which is the male Boules members, and their wives, with 112 chapters, make up the wealthiest group of black men and women on the planet. Now, Archon means demon, but yet that's what they want to be a part of. And they like to keep that hidden. They say, but who does the Boules really serve? Well, it don't serve the black community. Now, it serves racism and white supremacy. And as long as the black Boules member conforms to the rules, the richest will be in abundance, if not come down the hatchet. And they state that black males also part of the deal. Now, the Masonic Secret Society has a pyramid style like all the rest. You know about the Masons and that situation. They say the lower ranks are kept from knowing what the upper ranks know. Now, the early 20th century was a period of reconstruction. We put this up on the screen, and you can see this is the Boules members, right? But I want you to notice on the screen, you have two white people. And they're supposed to be part of the black Boules. That's intentional why they're on there. Now, Marcus Garvey, the great Marcus Garvey, the greatest of all time, the father of modern and past Pan-Africanism. He laid down the blueprint, okay? So he had his Back to Africa movement, and it was in full swing. And Garvey represented genuine black leadership. In other words, Marcus Garvey represented that 90%. He represented the streets. He represented the grassroots. Now, W.E.B. Du Bois, the founding member of the New York chapter of the Boules, he stated that the Boules was created to keep the black professional away from Marcus Garvey. See, understand, any person that's trying to take black people out of racism, white supremacy, and the freedom, that is a threat to the black Boules. Understand that. The Joy Reids, and now I'm not saying she's in the black Boules, But usually when you see the professionals, they in it or they clicked in somewhere with it, right? Now they say the remaking of the House Negro was necessary to institute a group of blacks who had a vested interest in protecting the elite white system.
I actually got that book. Give me a second. Mm, that's the book.
And they say shortly after founding of the Boule was also Marcus Garvey's time of Back to Africa movement when it reached 1 million plus people without television or radio. Do you understand how significant and how popular Marcus Garvey was at that time period? He had no TV, no radio, and yet he was popular. And he had no Twitter, no Facebook, no Instagram, no YouTube, no nothing, no messenger, anything, and yet he was that popular. Now, Du Bois emphasized, according to Steve Coakley, the importance to steal the black professional away from Garvey.
Black Snow Bunny's talking about your boy Steve Coakley. Remember you was telling me that earlier?
He was that popular. Now, Du Bois emphasized, according to Steve Coakley, the importance to steal the black professional away from Garvey because an Afrocentric organization that articulated and captured the black professional would give white people no safe haven in the black community. So the Boule, the remaking of the House Negro, was necessary to build up a group of Negroes who had an investment in protecting the white system and produced by whites having stole this land. This is post-Reconstruction. Now, taking away the articulate Negro.
I do agree with him, but he's not telling the full truth. As I always say, and I always told people, Marcus Garvey, he befriended white supremacists and Ku Klux Klan members. Walter Plecker. And this is where a lot of this stuff gets crazy because he was a friend of Walter Plecker's. Walter Plecker took care of his wife when he was in prison before he got deported. Did Marcus Garvey do a little bit of good? Yeah, we could say he did a lot of good. I'm gonna say a lot of good, but the bad stuff he did some bad evil shit, and it's mostly a cultural thing. The Jamaicans and the Caribbeans, they don't mind talking to the white supremacists and trying to, figure it out with the white supremacists. We know that shit ain't gonna work with the white supremacists because they'll call white supremacists for a reason. They named themselves white supremacists. They named themselves racist. It wasn't black Americans. It was the white supremacists. And that's the only thing that I have an issue about what Philip is saying. What Philip is saying is right, but there were pieces missing about Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey did the same thing as W.E.B. Du Bois. These don't forget these are both foreigners. You know, Marcus Garvey, Jamaican. W.E.B. Du Bois, he's half Haitian. I don't know if he's black and Haitian, but you can see he goes more to his Haitian side because he's from Massachusetts. He's not from Boston, but he's from Massachusetts. I think Webster, Massachusetts. I gotta look it up.
Now designed to replace them with organized institutions to keep them away from self-improvement. So we find in the same period as the founding of the Boule, the founding of the four male Alpha Phi Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi,
The
and Phi
Divine
Delta
Nine.
Sigma, and the four female Alpha Kappa Alpha, Delta Sigma.
The Divine Nine he's talking about.
Theta, Zeta, Phi Beta, and Sigma Gamma Rho, college-based fraternities and sororities. We also find them at the NAACP and Urban League. Now, I know some people on this page may be part of that organization. And you may say, man, I'm not no Boule. I just joined the fraternity. I'm not part of any of that. You may not be part of the Boule. You may not be. Not to say that you are, but I'm telling you what was created, why it was created, and why all these fraternities have ties to the Boule. Not to say that you are. You may be in it. You may not be tied in like that. You may not be willing to do the things that they willing to do to sell out black people to be in it. So I don't want to just indict everybody just in case you in a fraternity, because some of y'all in these fraternities, y'all get real bothered, like you talking about your kids when you mention the fraternities. I'm just saying. So they say now Du Bois is one of the strongest opponents of Marcus Garvey, and he was an instrumental tool in stopping one of the strongest grassroots movements in the century. What was Garvey's plan, right? We all know this. His plan was to take as many Africans from America and start a settlement in the nation of Liberia, and then help the new nation produce and control their own rubber crops and other industries in natural resources, okay? So Marcus Garvey, he stated that if the oil of Africa is good for Rockefeller's interests, if iron is good for Carnegie Trust, then these minerals are good for us. Why should we allow Wall Street and the capitalist group of America and other countries exploit our country when they refuse to give us a fair chance in the countries of our adoption? That's the same thing I talk about today. Is that you got China in Africa, the United States won't get out, Russia want to be in there, everybody want to be in Africa, getting all the resources. Well, what about black Americans? Why aren't we there even making any kind of business? I've talked about this so many times. Marcus Garvey continues to say, why should not Africa give to the world its black Rockefeller, Rothschild, and Henry Ford? He's right. Marcus Garvey understood that we cannot be a people without any kind of power. Wealth brings power, and the wealth is in Africa. Here, you're going to be sabotaged. Look at all the black men that get money. What happens to them in the end a lot of times? It don't end well. Didn't Eddie Griffin say on Vlad TV that they always got to have an asterisk by your name? Because they either got to dirt you up or destroy you on any little thing. That's why when you black men get certain amounts of money, you need to already have your escape plan out of this country, because eventually they may come for you, and when you even get wind of it, you can say, man, I'm out. I'm not going to put up with these people. Now, they said the two house Negroes made a bet that whites will come out on top and give a certain percentage of these greedy Negroes named Boule members the wealth they stole from Africa, right? So they say what's deep is that they didn't believe in African self-reliance and preferred to have whites give them tables.
Uncle, I love me some Shabby Shab. Shabby Shab is dope. She be getting busy on I don't know. I think she is. Um I think she is. I don't know if she's from I think she went to school in Boston, but if she is from Boston, I would claim that she is from Boston. I thought she always gave me this Rhode Island, Connecticut vibe, but I think she's from Boston. You know,
Scraps instead of making the whole pie. Now, you have to understand the Boule represents the weakest element of black people. Understand that. They are the Stephen of Django Unchained. You understand? That's them. They will protect the master. They will do everything they can. They'll fight with other black people and also deceive other black people. Now, as Steve Coakley put it, he said, it took a certain type of, well, he said N-word, to form an organization like this. He said, I mean, we just got our, you know what, kicked during Reconstruction. Africa was divided before our very eyes with the Berlin Conference, most of you who know about that. And he said, and this was 50 years before Rosa Parks. And I said, the question is, why were these black devils like this? That's what he said. He said, the answer may lie in the fact that the Boule is a Greek organization. And I said that on Twitter. They got mad at me. I said, why you got black people joining the Greek organizations? You can't make an African organization or even a black American organization? Because Greek, that's, you know, white folks. What's up with that? Oh, they say, oh, he's super woke. Oh, boy, they was mad at me when I made that comment on Twitter.
Don't forget the first Greeks were Romans were black. You know, that's why they were considered Gentiles. And Gentiles means that you're probably from the bloodline, but you don't know the culture. You speak a different culture. You know, you don't follow the same laws and commandments.
So continue. He said it was about selling out B when I made that comment on Twitter. Come up. See all this talk about ADOS and black folks breaking away from the Democratic Party. Oh no, that's bothering the Boule because they are the house Negroes, every last one of them. Now I say the majority are black lawyers, doctors, engineers, and accountants were members of the secret club. Now I'm not saying all black lawyers and accountants is part of the Boule. Not saying that, but they say traditionally the people that's in it is a tie to that. Okay. Now, I say the Boule is another arm of nefarious secret societies that recruit, indoctrinate, and cull for the dark forces. Now, you know, for me, dark forces the devil, Satan. And there's a lot of Satan in America. You don't believe me? Go to vacation outside this country. I just talked to, I was on a live stream. Nyla's in Mexico and her and Taz is in Mexico right now. And you don't know Nyla and Taz, where they make content. They're in Mexico, and she said she finally understand what I meant last year is that when I got out of America, I felt that weight off my shoulders. I felt like at peace. I feel happy because it's a strong demonic spirit over America. And until you get out, that's the only time you really feel what I'm talking about. So they say there are perks galore, power and notoriety are lying in wait for the easily compromised soul. So these people not only sold out the black community, but they're selling their soul to white supremacy. Understand? And that is the worst part out of it all. Okay, so in the Greek system, the Boule was the lower house of the parliament, charged with organizing the affairs of the city of the king. So think about that for a minute, right? Now, this is an ancient story. It said the New World Order is the Old World Order. The elite blacks of the Boule are culling and controlling their own for a slice of the elite white man's pie. That's what it is. They want table scraps from white supremacy. Let's talk about that. They want those CNN jobs. See what happened? Roland got out of pocket talking
Mm.
about the gay community. Understand? On CNN. That's why he's out of there. He broke the rules. You can't talk about LGBT. Oh, no, no, no. Because most of them are tied in with that. So he broke the rule, and ever since then, he been trying to get in good graces to get back in. You should.
Let's go on to the next one. Yo, if you listen to Philip Scott, he'll talk. He'll keep on talking to talk. I like Philip Scott, but some of that stuff that he was saying about Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey wanted the black people to get on that raggedy ass boat that we know that probably would have never made it and go to Liberia. Fuck
There
that.
is a difficult subject that needs to be spoken about while I'm still able to. For the most part, if you watch my videos or are slightly aware of the lies to this world that we're born into, then secret societies are not a big shocker to you. And if you understand that, you know that we can mostly correlate a majority of agendas going on in this world with the different secret societies. Some are very well known and heard of, like the Freemasons or the Skull and Bones, though we don't know a great deal about them besides what they allow others to know or what insiders have revealed and exposed. But there are many others, some that are high up in the food chain or hierarchy of dominance, that are not even known by the majority. Most people have never even heard of them, though they have yielded a great deal of influence. And this topic that I'm about to discuss will discuss one of the least known societies. And though in the grand hierarchy of this pyramid, they are not very high in importance in this world, but in the black community in America, they are extremely high in the pyramid. And most people have never even heard of them. They are the gatekeepers of the black community, and if you do not understand them, you will have so many false beliefs and attitudes of black America, our struggle, civil rights, and many other subjects that will not be corrected if they are not understood. Now, this is not a racial issue. Regardless of your race, you must understand this group because they have been used secretly against the population. If you were one that was influenced by the civil rights agenda, you were directly influenced by this organization. Yes, their spirit influence and their target market, it was and is the black community in America, possibly around the world, though I would admit that my research hasn't taken me that far yet. But if you're paying attention to the agendas being carried out today, you will be able to see that this is an understanding that everyone should have. Whoever you are, you have to understand this group. You must understand the Black Boule. Let's begin. Okay, so I've desired to bring this topic back out for a while now. But in bringing these topics out, just like anything, it's important to have a strong foundation first in other topics. Like, you can't talk about the Boule without understanding Prince Hall Freemasonry, which is why I made that video first. And then you really can't understand the Divine Nine without understanding Prince Hall Freemasonry and the Boule. This information must be understood and peeled back in layers. So in the way that I teach, information comes out in a specific order in order that confusion can be limited. So if you have not watched the one about Prince Hall Freemasonry, please watch that one first, because if you don't watch that, there may be information you are missing that doesn't completely allow you to connect all the dots that are about to be presented in this video. Now, before I get into the breakdown of what the Black Boule is, we need to go back in time. Let's go back to the times of slavery. During the times of slavery, we had plantations. This was large farms in the colonies of America that used the enforced labor of slaves to harvest crops like cotton, rice, indigo, sugar, tobacco, and other farm produce for trade and export around the world. This trade and export was how America was built. On this plantation, we had two different classes or groups of people. We had the masters and the slaves.
Yeah, I seen that a little bit. The thing about, because I watch a lot of Philip Scott stuff. The problem with the Pan Africanism stuff is that we know it's a scam. It's a scam. No matter how you cut and slice it, they have done shit for Black Americans, but done tons for Africans and Caribbeans. You know,
There was no
and that's my whole problem with it.
crossing between these classes. A master never became a slave, and a slave never became a master. Well, that's not entirely true. Eventually, there were slaves that became slave owners, but I don't want to get off point. I'm not going to talk much about the masters, but more about the slaves. To keep the slaves in line and know exactly what the slaves were thinking or plotting, the masters, they needed help. They needed allies within the slaves. So in the slave class, there was two other classes that were created. There were the regular slaves and then the house slaves. The house Negroes, which really is known by another word that I will not use. The house slaves were taken in the house, given better food and accommodations. They were treated better and were more aligned with the slave masters than they were with their own people. They were used by the slave masters to keep the slaves in line. The slave masters might not have been able to keep the slaves in line without the house slaves. It even became a goal for some of the slaves to be able to come inside and become house slaves themselves. Now, on top of that, the slave masters would also have babies with the house slaves. Those children would never be equal, but they were not the bottom class slaves that had nothing and had to work outside eating the scraps. I think you get the picture. And I think, for the most part, everyone should understand what the house slaves were. Now, here's the question I want you to think about. After slavery, and after they reprogrammed the slaves to believe that they were free, do you think that the position of house slave went away? Do you think that slave masters, those that were running and building this country, do you think that they did away with this house slave position that allowed them to keep tabs and control of the Negro community by just controlling a small few of them? The answer should be no. But here's the problem. Whether you ever thought about that question or not, you probably have not been exposed to the how. You might just call out a few names that you've seen on television that were obviously cooning and say that's what a modern house slave is. But you probably still have not been fully exposed to the real answer. And that's what we're going to talk about. Here's the irony, though, in obvious reprogramming of today. During the times of slavery, though there were a few slaves that wanted to become house slaves, the majority of the slaves, they despised the house slaves. They did not trust them or like them. Fast forward to our current modern times. Today, we praise the house slaves, and they are now our heroes. It's because we have been reprogrammed and reconditioned to love and accept our chains. And our goals are now to get in the house instead of breaking free. Now, if you watched the video that broke down Prince Hall Freemasonry, you already have a good understanding of how the separation began and was started. But it did not stop at Prince Hall Freemasonry. Within the ranks of the Masons were an educated bourgeois class of Black men that looked at themselves as elite compared to the rest of the other Masons. They wanted to be separated and distinguished from all the other Masons. And the ruling class of America, the elite families that are still the unseen hand of this world, they needed a source of recruitable Negroes to assist them with their plan to assimilate the Negroes into this new world that they were building. So there was a new subsection of the underground world of Negroes that was made to be the gatekeepers of Black America. On their website, they say this about themselves. Sigma Pi Phi fraternity is also known as the Boules, which in ancient Greece was a council of chiefs. The meaning of the words Sigma Pi Phi, the titles given to its members and their wives, its officers, and the names of its local units are derived from Greek history and tradition as well. In its early years, Sigma Pi Phi could be viewed as a secret organization that consciously avoided publicity. It was not until 1982 that the fraternity adopted a policy of limited and selective publicity. Although no longer secret, today it can be described as a fraternity that exists with little fanfare and one that actively seeks to improve the lives of the citizens in the communities in which members are associated through its social action and public policy programs and initiatives. From its founding in 1904 with 6 members in the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Sigma Pi Phi fraternity has deliberately grown slowly, as the emphasis has always been on quality and not quantity. Yet, it currently has nearly 5,000 active members who are affiliated with 134 member Boules in cities across the breadth of this nation and in Nassau, the Bahamas, and London, the United Kingdom. It has welcomed and continues to welcome into its fraternal bond some of the most distinguished men in the world. Its members have included such men as W.E.B. Du Bois, Carter G. Woodson, Martin Luther King Jr., Benjamin E. Mays, Ralph J. Bunche, James Weldon Johnson, Charles R. Drew, Daniel Hale Williams, Percy L. Julian, Charles H. Wesley, Oliver W. Hill, Paul R. Williams, John Hope Franklin, A. Leon Higginbotham, Ulysses K., Arna Bontemps, Arthur Ashe, David H. Blackwell, Robert C. Weaver, Ronald H. Brown, and the list goes on and on. Its past as well as its present members have been and are leaders in the struggle for civil rights, social justice, economic and educational equality, and in the implementation of public policy and healthcare initiatives that aid our underserved communities. Okay, now they have apparently taken it off their website, but in Boule member Charles Wesley's book, History of Sigma Pi Phi, a book I will be quoting from often in this video, when speaking about the founder Henry Minton, who I will speak on more briefly as well, Wesley writes this about Minton. His dream and ambition were to organize a Greek letter fraternity and to have its members not to be selected on the basis of brains alone, but in addition to congeniality, culture, and good fellowship, that they should have behind them a record of accomplishment, not merely be men of promise and good education. In summary, Minton wanted to create an organization which would partake, in his own words, of the tenets of Skull and Bones at Yale and Phi Beta Kappa. Now you can see now in the age of information why they would want that removed from their website. If you remember Skull and Bones from George Bush, where both him and John Kerry were in the same secret society, but could not tell us anything about it.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go
I'm
wild.
sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322?
First of all, he's not the nominee. And, look, I look
Are
forward...
you prepared to lose?
No, I'm not going to lose.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret.
Yeah. Wikipedia says this about the secret society. Skull and Bones, also known as the Order, Order 322, or the Brotherhood of Death, is an undergraduate senior secret student society at Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. It is one of the big 3 societies at Yale, the other 2 being Scroll and Key and Wolf's Head Society. Yeah. Now, we don't need to know much more, but understanding the underworkings of this world, it says a lot that the Boule wanted to create an organization that partakes in the tenets of the Brotherhood of Death. Now, we also know that Phi Beta Kappa, who he also wanted to mirror his organization after, This is a Masonic organization, and I will revisit that info as I deal with the Divine Nine. But let's continue to focus on the Boules. You see, everyone has heard of the Alphas, the Kappas, the Omegas, the Sigmas, the Deltas, AKAs, etc., especially if you went to an HBCU like I did. But one thing that is not spoken of is the first Black Greek letter fraternity. Across America's colleges, when at the time you can say that they were predominantly white institutions of higher learning, these institutions had their Greek college fraternal organizations in much earlier periods. The organizations like Phi Beta Kappa were very early started in the higher learning institutions of America. But in the Black community, these organizations, these Greek letter organizations, were not undertaken until after the 1900s. Now, if you hear people speak of their fraternities, they love to talk about the history and how old it was. But the one thing that's not spoken on is if these people were just freed only 40 years before their organization was created, where did they get this knowledge of Greek letter fraternities from? It's obviously not original and was emulated from organizations that came before them. Organizations that actually held membership of some of the same exact people that once enslaved them. Where do you think your Greek fraternity influence comes from? But we could talk about that later. Let's talk some more history. Bear with me, please. Sigma Pi Phi was the first Black Greek letter fraternity before all the more widely known Divine Nine fraternities
Told
in
you.
the Black community was created. Now, the Black man at this time was on the rise, due mainly to the rise of Prince Hall Freemasonry, which was discussed in the
I told you, Sigma Pi Phi, and I think they're talking about the Philly one. Yeah, the Philly one. I think they're talking about,
previous video.
or
During
Lancaster,
the beginning of the 20th century,
Pennsylvania.
in the early 1900s, there were established Negro professionals. By the beginning of the year 1900, the total number of Negro college graduates had been increased to 7,488. The majority of this group had come from Southern colleges, although there was an important minority who had graduated from Northern colleges. After these men who held bachelor's degrees, the number of graduate and professional degrees was relatively much smaller. The census of 1900 showed that the Negro population was steadily building an improved economic, educational, and social status. One of the areas that this improved status was improving was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you remember in the last video, I told you to remember this city. This was the city that saw the second or third Prince Hall Masonic Lodge created in the country. Anyways, the city of Philadelphia ranked high in the list of those giving work opportunities to the Negro population. Remember, Pennsylvania was a northern state, and the proportion of free blacks in Philadelphia before the Civil War was greater than in any other city in the North. In 1900, there was in a single ward of Philadelphia 7 teachers, 5 lawyers, 6 physicians, 22 clergymen, and 3 dentists. This is not normal for the Black community. There were 3 major socio-economic Negro groups in Philly. The first was the small group of professional persons who were the physicians, the dentists, lawyers, teachers, pastors, executives of business enterprises. A second group included the skilled and semi-skilled industrial workers and a large number of domestic servants. And the third group was the vast majority, and they comprised of the class that was considered unskilled laborers who were in poverty and low-income living in the congested areas of the city, what we call ghettos. Here's an important point that Wesley notes in his book. The lives of most of the 2 latter groups revolved around the church, the lodge, and the beneficial society. He says, during the last decade of the 19th century, there were 19 lodges of Masons, 6 chapters of the Eastern Star, 5 commanderies, 3 of the Scottish Rite, and 1 drill corps. There were lodges of the Knights of Pythias, Odd Fellows, Galilean fishermen, and other important organizations based upon fraternal ties. Churches, they had been organized and have flourishing memberships, and were influencing the people in the development of self-respect and self-support, same way they do right now. The churches and lodges had property valued at over $1 million at that time. If you remember from the last video, Prince Hall Freemason Richard Allen created the AME Church in Philadelphia. So I gave you all that information so you can understand what the times were like. It's important to understand this. Henry M. Minton, founder of Sigma Pi Phi, was educated and a professional. He had the first drugstore operated by Negroes in Philadelphia. He later became a doctor, graduating from Jefferson Medical College. There were Greek letter fraternities in the institutions which he had attended, but Negroes were excluded from their membership. At that time, no Greek letter fraternity had been organized by Negroes. Minton's ambition drove him to take leadership in the creation of a fraternity among men of like ideals and attributes, and to build an affiliation of selected college men who had made achievements in their careers and their community. And this is when Sigma Pi Phi was created. Now, the other black Greek organizations, the Divine Nine, they were created shortly after. They were catered to mostly undergrads, those obtaining bachelor's degrees. But Sigma Pi Phi, the oldest of all the Greek organizations, it catered to the men in their post-college years. This fraternity was planned for men who were graduates of college and were engaged in professional activities in their communities. Meaning, you wouldn't be able to join this organization while you were in college. You need to establish yourself and show that you are worthy to be a part of their organization. In Minton's words, there were many men in the community of good training, intelligence, and culture and congeniality who were not intimately acquainted with one another. For the good of themselves and the community, they should be gathered together in some kind of organization. Put very simply, these men, they served themselves. They were doing their thing in the community, and they wanted to bring them all together so that they could all work together for a common goal. It's a common idea in
I'll say this. I think, and this is just me, I think people like them, they're not good, they're not bad, they just don't have a conscience. Wherever the money goes, they go. You know, they work in the darks, they work behind closed doors. We don't see them, but we know that they're there. We know that they have influence. You know, and that's the scary part about that. The part that we shouldn't be scared of is that anybody can get their power taken away. Anybody like this. It depends what are you trying to do to get their power taken away? What are you offering? You know? Cuz the black gatekeepers right now are having a problem. They're having a problem right now with black Americans. You know, they try to replace black America because at the end of the day, don't forget a lot of these black gatekeepers, they already have been replaced with a white face now because of the generational um rules that they've been following. They've been following the rules that a lot of these Latinos follow. The La Raza rule, that's how these gatekeepers been following. You know, so if they can hide their blackness and whiten up the race, then they're fine. You know?
the black community that many of us are like crabs in a barrel. No one can rise because we're always pulling each other down. These men should be credited with the creation of that condition in our community. But I digress. The historic birth of Sigma Pi Phi is May 15th, 1904. This is their Founders Day.
I was
It was
close.
at
That's the
this time the
1908.
concept of Boules was formed. Boules, also known as the Council of the Chiefs, the leading noblemen, or the heads of families. The Boule of Homeric times was a body of princes who were advisory to the king. This goes back to the Greeks, just like Christianity does. You see, a question we should ask ourselves is, who were they councils and advisors to? Who were these Boules councils to? History
Freemason.
will show and prove that they were the advisors of dealing with and keeping the black community in check. Again, they were the house slaves. Another word used more generally than boule was the word archon. They say this designation was a title given to the highest magistrate in Athens and many ancient Greek states. But in a simple search, like in the Britannica, you can see that in Gnosticism, archons are actually more likely demons, fallen angels that are servants to the demiurge, Satan. The archons are tyrannical and limiting agencies who rule over humanity and creation in order to enhance their own self-importance and glory. That's what they are. So the name is fitting on why they call themselves this. But they do not
Is that
rule over
Clarence
humanity,
Thomas?
just over the black community in America. Now, their books do not mention that they took orders from others in higher positions that were not necessarily in the community of race. But if you understand the underworld, you understand how this all was. They say they wanted to be like Skull and Bones and Phi Beta Kappa. And those societies all were under the leadership of the family of bloodlines that held power over centuries. Now, at this point, I will stop with the history. If you want to know more about them, they are an important subject you should know and research. Charles Wesley, who himself is a Boules member and a Freemason, he has wrote a lot about them, and in his book, you can understand more about the organization. I want you to ask a majority of your parents, your grandparents, ask them about Sigma Pi Phi or the Boules, and I guarantee a majority of them would not know of them. They made sure that they were very secretive and under the radar, but yet they were very much present in our society. They were the actual gatekeepers of the black community. And the heights of success that we see in America today in the black community would not and did not happen without them. And this is the crazy part. Remember how I talked about how nobody wanted to be the house slave back then? Today, they are what we ultimately decide what our life goals should be like. Because of their power, their success, them being praised by the business leaders and the government leaders and all these other people, them having the fame and the fortune, they have made it that we desire to be like them. You see, when money, power, fame, and wealth are the primary drivers of our lives, it's very easy to implant those who have been given keys to the kingdom as being our examples and who we should be like. Now, here's the thing. Early on, these men were included not only by their status and by their success, but by their skin tone. Many of these men could also pass for white men, which made them able to be accepted easier amongst those in control. They passed those paper bag tests, and they were many of them descendants of the slave owners themselves. These are the founders. These were the men given the brown paper bag test, which they passed, and this is how they obtained power and then later controlled the power as it was passed down. This is all very deep. The white ruling class of this country allowed them to be very rich and offered them opportunities of education and status, which carried with it the tradition of the Western Eastern American civilization. Basically, when they freed the Negroes, they needed a way to draw them into American culture instead of allowing them to create their own thing in America, which is what the black community tried to do, which is why it always got stomped out. So after the white ruling class of this country gained backing in the black community through their Masonic fraternal organizations, creating these house slaves, they then got pickier and chose the ones that were going to be the examples for the black community to try to eventually emulate and bring us into them. And after these men were created and solidified, then they created a civil rights campaign that teaches the black community to assimilate just like those men instead of us being set apart and doing our own thing. The goal was always to assimilate us after they had control of our minds. They used these Boules members in many different ways. They had many different roles. One of the first elite members of the Boules was W.E.B. Du Bois, and he's quoted as saying, "The Boules was to keep the professional blacks away from Garvey." Marcus Garvey, also another Freemason, he started the grass movement. His idea was to make America start a settlement in Liberia to control rubber crops and other natural resources. Garvey's famous quote was, "Why should not Africa give to the world its black Rockefeller, Rothschild, and Henry Ford? Now is the opportunity. Now is the chance for every Negro to make effort toward a commercial, industrial standard that will make us comparable with the successful businessmen of other races." Around 1918, in the early stages of the Boules,
It sounds good, but at the end of the day, I know Africa would not let Black Americans have what they created. You know, and I don't know if like this is why I say, yo, some people have an immigrant experience. Marcus Garvey has never been to Africa. You know, given Black American land, we understand the jokes. If we build it, they're gonna keep it and kick us out. And that was the whole reason why a lot of us did. This is the reason why a lot of us never went with Marcus Garvey. So yeah.
Garvey's Back to Africa movement, through his newspaper, The Negro World, it was reaching over 1 million diasporic Africans, largely in North America, without TV or without radio. So, with the Boules, Du Bois was tasked with stealing the black professionals from the influence of Garvey because, in short, it went against the ultimate agenda. So Du Bois established his Boules chapter in New York, and the rise of black civic organizations happened like the NAACP, the Urban League, and the 100 Black Men. This man was used to push the agenda that the white ruling class of the Masons they really wanted. The main point I'm making is that this elite class of black men who were extremely picky about who they included did not do their own bidding. They were sold out to the satanic elite class that were already controlling America. And they were the house Negroes that regulated the black community.
So now I want to ask y'all a question. Would y'all consider Roland Martin a house nigga? Is Roland Martin? You know what? We'll do a topic question on that. Are Roland Martin and the other Boulets? Is Roland Martin is a house Negro doing the white supremacist work? I'll figure out a topic title tomorrow. You know. Mm.
All the way until we are now at the time when they are our heroes, yet we know nothing about their organization and the roles that they have played in our society. Understand it like this. Those who secretly ran this country did not want the black community to turn to the Most High, so they controlled their goals and the agendas that they had. Later, moving us to the civil rights movement, where Boule member Michael King, mostly widely known as Martin Luther King Jr., he helped bring the final jab and exclamation point to their agenda of assimilation. And we have been unknowingly following their agenda and influence ever since. So here's the question. Why don't your parents and grandparents know much about them? Well, it's simple. They were hidden in the past. But in 1982, like I read earlier, the fraternity adopted a policy of limited and selected publicity, but they were still widely a secret to many. They have a website, though, and are hidden right in plain sight. The Divine Nine, the other black Greek letter organizations that followed after, became their tools of recruitment. And so you normally would not see a member of the Boule that is not a member of these fraternities and sororities. Those members of the Divine Nine, they are just a low-hanging fruit, and most don't even know it or understand any of it.
The reason why I ask you that because I don't think a lot of people know this. Even Al Sharpton, and I know Shabaka gets mad when I do say this. Al Sharpton is the spokesperson for Pan Africanism now. Don't forget when the Pan African movement started going on a decline a few months ago. It's and we have to say a decline because the whole debacle. Because people are asking, "What have you done for me lately?" I'm gonna have a little. I'm gonna be a little more sympathetic to Pan Africanism today. Um, when they started going on when they started going on a decline a few months ago, and it has been longer. It has been longer because at the end of the day, a lot of people been asking who is the leader of FBA. The niggas been asking the question, who's the leader of Pan Africanism? A lot of people been saying Dr. Umar, but the Pan African community has been saying no. A lot of people have been saying, okay, Professor Smalls. No, Professor Smalls is not one. But when people heard my hierarchy of foundational Black Americans, that's when people started doing the same thing. And I said, There is no leader of foundational Black American. There's only elders and scholars. Again, there are no leaders. There's only elders and scholars. I need everybody to think about that. Elders and scholars. You can tell the elders and scholars, no, we're not fucking with that. You can tell the scholars what you're not fucking with, but the facts are the facts. The truth is the truth. We can't change the truth. Now, after we just answered the question of who's the leader, they still asking. After we just answered that, they're still asking the same question: who are the leaders? There's no leaders. There's only elders and scholars. These are hierarchies. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think the Democrats are infiltrating the Pan African movement, or have they already? Don't forget, a lot of these Democrats, they wear this, they wear the Pan African colors, they wear the kufis. Remember, they had white people with the kente cloth scarves, bending the knee, taking the knee. Now the question is, are the Pan Africans working together with these Boules, or have they been infiltrated and we just didn't know?
But that needs to be discussed as well. Some of the most notable members of the Boule are, like I've already noted, Michael King, W.E.B. Du Bois, Thurgood Marshall, Jesse Jackson, Bill Cosby, Tom Joyner, Arthur Ashe, Eric Holder,
Mm,
John Lewis,
mm.
Kwesi Mfume, Robert Johnson, founder of BET. I mean, there are many names. On their website, they say its past as well as its present members have been and are leaders in the struggle for civil rights, social justice, economic and educational equality, and in the implementation of public policy and healthcare initiatives that aid our underserved communities. Each member is committed to upholding the principles upon which the fraternity was founded and thereby enriching the lives of our citizens. Each member strives to enhance the brilliance of its beacon light. Its over 100-year history is a testament to determination, dedication, and a commitment to excellence. You see, for me, my rule of thumb is anywhere that there are prominent black professionals, chances are they're in the Boule. And then what I do is I look to see if they're part of a Greek letter fraternity, and if they are, I pay closer attention to what they're saying and what they're doing.
Such as Shaquille O'Neal. I love me Shaquille O'Neal, but Shaquille O'Neal's he's another one who does this shit and this, or was it this? One of them shits. He does that. Remember, he used to come down to the hoop. I mean, after he slam dunk and does this, he's a part of that fraternity. He's a he's probably one of the people out of Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and a few other people that makes billions of dollars.
Just so I know what their agendas are.
Hmm.
These people are very secret, so everyone attached is not known. But they are, in fact, the true gatekeepers of Black America, and they should never be ignored. Here's an activity. Anytime you see a prominent black person in business or politics or religion anywhere, look to see if they're a member of a Divine Nine fraternity. If you remember when Kamala was being propped up, it was most of her Divine Nine people that were propping her up in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
When you understand this, you can always see that these figures have a door of control that was always opened. You see, the power structure of this world is right in our faces, and what they want us to do is ignore it and act like it's all coincidence. Listen, it's at this time they were about to enter into their new world that these groups pledged themselves to help promote and they help set the stage for. It is at this time that they must be understood and their influence examined if you are trying to remove yourself from the influence of this world. Now, it's important that you know and understand this is nothing that you can stop or that you can change. This is not information for us to stop their organizations or those like them. The main part of this understanding is to see how controlled this world is and understand why it is necessary to be set apart from it. When you're following these people, you're following all these lies that these people are doing in their secret societies that they're not telling you, but they're attaching you to it in some way. When you understand this, you can understand the agendas like the civil rights movement, which was not actually about equal rights, but tying Negroes to the judgment that is set aside for this nation. When you understand this, you can understand when pastors like Jamal Bryant are using the pulpit to boycott Target. Like, why is he wasting his time with a message like this? You see, they're all being used for agendas that are used to bring the world to the acceptance of the beast, and the Negro community is very much important for many different reasons. But these Negroes are house slaves that are being used to tie us with them. I'm confident that if you're not a believer or strong in your belief, you may likely say, so what am I supposed to do with this information? But the answer is very simple for a true believer in Yahusha, the Messiah. The reason it's simple is because it's something we should do regardless if you know this information or not. And that is that we must be holy and set apart. I'm just showing you this information to really show you how much of this world you need to reject and why you should be rejecting it. I've been making videos trying to display how tainted this world really is. From my earlier videos about the symbols, you should see how many satanic symbols are lingering in our society. When exposing the Matrix, it should be easy to see how much control these people have had over our world. When understanding mind control, you should be able to see how they have been directing us for decades. I want you to understand how deep all this goes, because for most of us, we can pinpoint exactly where in time we were sucked into this world and its agenda. And most of the time, it links back to these men and these organizations. The goal is to show you how polluted this world really is and how little control you have had in it. We have been guided and we have been directed to believe in and take part in a system that we have been manipulated to accept. They have given us heroes that were in secret actually our enemies, and they have made our enemies out of people that were actually our heroes. They have been working and guiding us into accepting their coming new world order and their false messiah. And if we don't want to feel the ultimate consequence of following them down this broad path that leads to destruction, you need to come out of Babylon and be separate and do not practice. But sometimes it's hard for this mentality to be understood.
He's talking that preachy shit now, so we gotta get the fuck out of there. I'll do one more. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. I might do one more. Let me see how this turns out.
Somehow wear the dress.
Bobby Hemmett.
Gotta wear the dress. The black actor got to somehow wear the dress. Gotta wear the dress. The black actor got to somehow wear the dress. Now,
or play some kind of feminine
right
role.
now,
Feminine character.
exactly. Now, give me an example.
Tyler
And this ain't got nothing to do with no gay community, because I'm gonna tell you something. The white gay community is in on it too, because hell, that's all doggone Hollywood is white gay community. But whenever they want to, see, it's interesting how they do things. Whenever they want to push the envelope, they get a black person to do it. So soon as Dennis Rodman put on the dress, he got a TV show.
Right.
Back in the 90s. And soon as we knew about a RuPaul, next thing you know, this brother got his TV show. And we got several people can't get a TV show. We got the black woman that's forced out of Hollywood now. You see what I'm saying? They got the TV show. Now let me give you an example of what happened here. As we know that Dave Chappelle came on Oprah and he talked about how he had heard the stories on how they had to wear the dress. And how he went on the movie set with Martin Lawrence. And he was appearing in a movie with Martin Lawrence, and he got in his trailer and had a dress hanging up. And he said, you know, why I got to wear this dress? He said, I've heard about these stories about, why I got, about the black actors in order to cement your place in Hollywood, you got to do something, either something derogatory or something about getting killed, you wear the dress and basically getting shot in the behind. That's the other one. But he said, well, I got to wear the dress. So he said, I'm not wearing it. And the director said, no, you got to do this and all. We paid a lot of money for the scene, blah, blah, blah. He said, it went on about 15 minutes. He said, and then the producer came in and they went on. He said, I ain't wearing the dress. He said, in 15 minutes, they walked out and came back 15 minutes later with another script. It was almost like they said they had a script that was written already where you didn't have to wear the dress, but they put this in here. You see what I'm saying? As a thing that they do to black people.
Right.
Because a lot of times when they make these movies, a lot of times these movies are written for white people, and then they figure based on the demographics they can make more money by getting that black element in because they figure it will fail and go to video with some white if it's not strong enough for the white artist. So they put the black people in, and it's $1 million movie.
Right.
I mean, a million people sell make up so many millions on the first weekend.
Hey, welcome to Southern California, KPFK, Brother Steve Coakley.
Hey, good evening, brother.
One of our great researchers that have exposed the Boules, a phenomenon.
Black Snow Bunny, there go your boy.
Light took the sheets off of these Negro Klan members and explained to us what the Boules is all about. So what we'd like you to do.
Yo, to not speak about like just Pan-African and Black American, foundational Black American. Yo, this nigga, Black Snow Bunny and King, yo, he loves some Stokely. You could tell that this nigga loves Stokely. Steve Coakley, he loves some Steve Coakley. I don't know why. You could just tell that the nigga like he's a Steve Coakley glazer.
Is tell us the history of the Boules, who the Boules are, the origins.
All right, I gotta take a call real fast, everyone.
This secret society, this particular black secret society that we'll talk about today, is the first of the black Greek societies, started in 1904, and that word that you said, Boule, is actually an acronym. It's a Sigma Pi Phi. Sigma Pi Phi, 1904 in Philadelphia. For most of our people, we are not prepped to the responsibility of secret society in the American society. And this founding constitution, this illegal criminal enterprise, was a Masonic affair. Masonry is a form of secret society. There are other well-known secret societies like Skull and Bones at Yale, of which this corrupt president and his father were members of. And it is that society that the black society modeled itself after. So when they wrote their first history book, The History of Sigma Pi Phi, by a very noted black author, university president, Charles Wesley.
Hey, let me ask y'all a question. Do you think Barack Obama, do you believe that he was a what's the word? Not an agent, but he was a DEI hired for black people. And when I mean a DEI hired, like they just hired him because he's fair skinned. They put his family together, like I'm talking about. They gave him his own wife and stuff like that. Because to me, Obama likes white women. You could tell Obama likes white women. He does a few things that are like kind of black, but you could tell that he been practicing that shit. Even the playing the basketball shit and stuff like that. We know Obama ain't a great basketball player like that. He probably like watching basketball, but like, cause I go back and I think like, damn, they try to make Obama really look black, like a black American. Oh yeah, nigga lived in a crack house and stuff like that when he was in college and did all of this and that. And you can tell that Obama, he always felt uncomfortable being black because he changed his name. Because nobody never talks about him changing his name into, remember when he started calling himself Barry, because he was embarrassed of the name Barack. So yeah.
Who wrote the history book for the Elks, the Prince Hall Masons, National Council of Negro Women, Alpha Phi Alpha, and Sigma Pi Phi. And as a result, in page 28 of its first history book, it noted that it wanted to be like Skull and Bones at Yale.
It's not an element.
Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence has to wear the dress. Will Smith wore the dress. Just about, all of them wore the dresses. It's interesting here. One guy he was a faggot in Life, and then he did the
damn man,
Joanna Man, or Vagina Man, or whatever that thing was. That movie.
Tell
And
you.
then there was he wore a dress, and then not only that, one of the brothers, I can't think of the brother name. He was from the '70s. He was an actor, and he used to
Yeah,
be on
I believe
Steve
that.
Harvey for the
Azar.
last couple of
I
years.
believe
He used to
that.
be on Good Times. I can't think of the guy's name, but he wore a dress in 1987. So they always had this thing with, and this thing started with Flip Wilson because we asked this question: how did Flip Wilson get a show?
Flip Wilson wore that dress. He wore that dress.
Geraldine in 1971.
Flip, yeah. I remember Flip. Niggas used to talk about him.
It was the whole Geraldine thing. So we got a history of this.
It was right here in Los Angeles at the Good Life on a Friday night. If you remember this time, every and we read it from. Now, for our audience to understand, I'm starting off trying to explain to black people.
I think I'm gonna land right here. I think we got enough information for today. I'm a land. I might do a part two. If I find more information. But I think we got enough right now. And this is just a start. I just wanted to show y'all how it was worked, who are the players and stuff like that. Now, the next time I do talk about it, I'm gonna talk about the system of it. Let me just get off this page right there. My son on pressing them buttons on my my door. But let me land right here, everybody. I want to say this. I do believe that the Boulets were a form of house nigga shit. Because they do have old people money, but at the end of the day, we understood that like they mixed their race in with the white supremacy race because of money, of holding money, to never be broke ever again. I will also say this. At the end of the day, they sold us out. The Boulets sold us out big time, and at the end of the day, they're having a hard time right now because like I said, it's coming to a point where what have you done for me lately? Or when have you ever done anything for me? Like nigga, you haven't done anything for me. Only thing you made me do is go out on crash dummy missions. You had me do crash dummy missions. So like how you think a person would feel about that? How would you think a person would accept shit like this? You selling us out, then when shit gets tough, you run. You flee. You flee to other countries. And I'm gonna say this. Africa, you got something to talk about. Africans, Caribbeans, you have something to talk about with these boulets. These are niggas that fled the country. They went to England. They went to France. They wanted to still eat the cuisines. They still wanted to live nice. Some of these people who stayed in America, they just hid. They didn't fly. They didn't flee, but they hid. They hid under whiteness because some of these people look white. And shout out to Fort, because at the end of the day, he tried to hold it down the best way he can. But at the end of the day, his family should have taught him how to defend himself. If you're influential, you shouldn't be getting yourself into situations like this man got himself into. You should have been ready. You should have been ready so you don't have to get ready. But I'm gonna end it here today. I want to give my shout outs. Uh Thanks to Uncle Dorsey, our Ashore, if I'm saying it right. Black Snow Bunny King, thank you for that great advice about Steve Coakley. I did joke around with you, but I didn't know much about Steve Coakley. I thought you was trying to say Stokely Carmichael, but you were right, Steve Coakley. Thank you to Miss Ramirez too. Thank you, Miss Ramirez. Have a good day at work too. I want to thank all of y'all too, and thank you to Kick, Rumbo, all y'all people who've been watching. Thank you. I do appreciate it. I will be tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow with the Bronze Reaper podcast. This is the Reaper Nation. But this is I'll be back at the Bronze Reaper podcast tomorrow, and thank y'all everybody, and have a great day. Rest.